I think I have a pretty high bar for labeling a flight as perfect. So high that I often wish that I could give out more 100s. But the math is the math, and so today's flight is in that special category of almost perfect. Which is impressive, considering I still think this is the second best Qatar flight that I've ever had. By the way, if you're ever curious how much I paid for this or any other flight, the exact price out of pocket is always in the description. Let me welcome any of you that might be new to the channel. My name is Kevin. I'm here to give you a self-funded and honest look at some of the best and some of the not so best airlines and hotels in the world, which I've been bringing to you full time for the past 4.5 years. Check out my hundreds of videos, scan the QR code, or click the link in the description to learn more about how I do things. Let's get into the trip report. Welcome to Doha. Qatar Airways appears on the channel fairly often. They, along with Singapore Airlines, are not necessarily the best airlines in the world, however you may define that, but they are two of the most consistent. So I like to fly them more often so that I have a steady bar to compare other airlines to. I've started Qatar Airways videos in the past with what's to be said about Qatar Airways that hasn't been said already like 900 times on YouTube. I then continued to go on to tell you things about Qatar Airways. I spent like 90 seconds talking about a bear and its siblings. So for today, I'm going to bow down to the fact that, right now, enough has indeed been said, and so I'll step back slightly and just let the ambiance of the airport and the flight itself speak a little louder than normal. My favorite business class lounge here in Doha is right up there, the Al Marjan the Garden Lounge. But since I arrived on a first class flight, I'm going to go head to the Safwa Lounge. To see the business class lounges, check out the Doha to Saigon video in the description. In that video, I visited both of the business class lounges. My motto when transiting is, when in doubt, walk faster. Today specifically in order to get my hands on one of the few sleeping rooms at the Al Safwa Lounge. When I checked in with the spa reception, they told me it would be around an hour, and I could go around the lounge and they'd alert me when it was ready. No thank you, I can sit right over there. The room was ready in around 45 minutes, at midnight. While I was waiting, I overheard the reception tell other passengers who arrived after me that there were no rooms opening up before 4 a.m., including one passenger from my flight, who I suppose walked slower. If you're enjoying the video and would like to support the channel, there are many ways that you could do so. A quick like on the video and subscribe helps videos with the algorithm. You could join my YouTube channel memberships to get early access to some videos and access to all of my community posts. Or you could check out my Patreon where I post the most and can help you out with any travel related questions. Whatever you do, thanks for doing it. I knew I would eat well on the flight, but also, Eggs Benedict would be nice. No reason both can't be true. As the sun finally started to come up, I headed to our gate. For most gates in Doha, you'll check into the gate as you enter, and then you'll sit in a designated area for your boarding zone. You'll just show the staff your boarding pass to make sure you're in the correct zone. No more ID checks are necessary. I was warmly greeted as I stepped on board and beelined it to my seat for today's 15-hour flight, a rear-facing 3A. 3A and 3K are hands down the best seats on the plane, and I'll tell you exactly why. The first row, especially on the A350s, due to the curvature of the cabin, is ever so slightly smaller for the window seats. Noticeable? For most, maybe not, but I want all of my space. So for me, that rolls out row number 2 and leaves us with 3. Why 3 and not further back? Qatar has extensive menus on board. There are a lot of choices for multiple meals, and sometimes things sell out fast. This is one airline where I don't want to risk being in the last row. Keep in mind that Qatar has true dine anytime menus. There's generally a typical flow which they'll tell you about, but you can follow that or do something completely different, all up to you. When they come to you to take your order, do yourself a favor and order for the entire flight. I was about to date myself and say on their little Palm Pilots, but on their devices, they can take your order for that next meal and also reserve specific items for you later in the flight, whenever you may want it. As always, the QSuite is a wonderful place to be. In the past 3 or 4 years, I've been taking 70 to 110 flights per year. There are many airlines, ones that I've flown already and love, and new ones that I'm looking forward to try that I get very excited about. But QSuites are different. QSuites are the business class seat that I look forward to the most without a close second. It's the only seat that I can think about in the same sentence as 15-hour flight and think, this is going to be really relaxing. A huge part about that is because of the design. It's just intuitive, and every square inch of space is used in a smart way. Something that is so simple that I think adds to the quality of the flight? This little shelf below the tabletop. You're thinking, really, Kevin? Yes. You're going to be in here for nearly an entire day. You don't want your space to be cluttered. That area lets you keep your menus and cords and devices close at hand, but also neatly put away. If you need more storage, you'll also find loads of it in your giant armrest that goes up and down. Service on board during pre-departure was abnormally chaotic. Drink orders were taken and passed around as passengers boarded, but then one slightly strange thing happened. The purser came around and introduced herself to each passenger, normal so far, and while doing so, alerted each of us that the first meal service may be delayed a bit because of crew rest periods. I really don't know how the two could be related. I'm curious what the real reason was. The safety video began and we were off with some rare for me at least, clear views of downtown Doha. Nothing says Qatar more than LNG infrastructure, and you could look at that from your window or from the on-screen camera. Then, possibly the best moment of the flight, when the doors are unlocked and shut. Take note of the crew member walking by. These are the tallest business class doors that I know of. Crew can see in if you're sitting up if they're literally standing next to you. But when you're walking down the aisle, it's not like you can see a sea of heads. And when you're lying down, no question, nobody is looking at your face. I went for an iced Americano, a proper one, after takeoff, with some beetroot chips. 2 chips to be exact. Comfort items at the seat included the mini destination pillows, which everyone tells me in the comments are so fantastic every time I say they're pointless, so today they're fantastic. The primary pillow is very firm as always, and the blanket, I swear, they're rolled so tight and they're so heavy that it could be used to play wiffle ball. The meal is about to begin, around 80 minutes after takeoff. Let's take a look at the full menu and wine list. Noting that the red prices are my addition to the graphic, just to give you an idea of the wine value on board. Maybe you could buy it for this price on the ground. Of course, drinking on the flight is free. Some passengers want their doors closed at all times. I'm fine with it being open during meal service to help the crew, since you can see from my eye level, you don't really meet eyes with your neighbor unless they're leaning forward. I started with the Greek yogurt with spiced plum and granola. I love QR's parfaits because they're never cloyingly sweet, 9.3 out of 10. Next up was the assiette of cold cuts. Today featuring bastorma beef, smoked turkey, black sesame labneh, dried fig, and sesame lavash. This will be a theme on this flight, but Qatar does have the best charcuterie in the sky, simply for the variety that they provide. I've never had the same mix twice, 9 out of 10. Last up, something that I order with hesitation. Eggs are so hard to get right on a plane, and then this is an omelet with ranch sauce? This hand-rolled omelet with mushrooms and lentils, grilled chicken sausage, sautéed kale, and potato rosti was insane. Who knew that ranch could be so good with eggs? Now, this was not like Hidden Valley Ranch. This was a very nicely made interpretation and quite a bit lighter than regular dressing. But my god, it was incredible. 10 out of 10. I had plenty of time to relax and digest after that, browsing through the endless titles in their entertainment system. Decent noise-canceling headphones and a moving map are also on hand. "30 minutes after the meal was finished, we were already over, wait for it, Batman. Yes, it's a real city. Yes, I have a photo next to the Welcome to Batman sign from when I drove through it. And yes, you're jealous. I know. It's okay. I understand." After that, though, the view just kept getting better and better. Around 5 hours later, it felt kinda like lobster mac and cheese o'clock. Like I mentioned, you can have anything, anytime, but the mac and cheese was one of the 4 designated light meals designed for the middle of the flight. I'm not sure how necessary it is, but it is always impressive to have a light meal like this served without a tray. Unfortunately, this was very meh. The lobster was nearly as chewy as the river prawns on my previous flight, and the mac and cheese just felt like they forgot the cheese. It was just some tasty pasta, noodle, macaroni thing. 6.8 out of 10. At any time, you can ask the cabin crew to put the seat cover on for you, which they have available on request. Generally, they're proactive with it after the first meal service, though. First up, pajamas. I was lucky to get some of the leftover Formula 1 edition PJs. The bed is a very nice cocoon. For me, it's quite tight around the leg area. Not necessarily because the foot cubby is so small, but because the tapering starts around your thighs because of that table that I love. That said, there is still plenty of space to get some sleep. I woke up somewhere over Canada and heard that they were just starting to prepare for the final service, which began around 3 hours before landing. For flights under 10 hours, I think 3 hours prior to landing is far too early. But for these ultra long haul flights, I think it's fine, especially since you could just eat later if you wanted to. Let's take a look at the amenity kit before freshening up. Standard, and by standard I mean very good, standard stuff for Qatar, as always featuring Diptyque amenities. This partnership might have been the smartest marketing decision Diptyque has ever made. Bathrooms on board were kept very clean throughout the flight, with crew often checking in between each passenger when they were available. Okay, time for dinner. I started with the Arabic meze, which I've said before and I'll say again, same reason as the charcuterie, same reason as the parfait. Qatar does it better than any other carrier, despite no hot components, simply for the variety. Today we had pesto hummus, labneh tahini, and avocado muhammara. 8.9 out of 10. Sometimes the lighting is just perfect. Not nearly as perfect as this dish though. This is Qatari chicken jarish, a blend of wheat, chicken, and spices simmered on low heat for hours, finished with almonds, fried onion, zeresk, and butter. If it wasn't for the couscous dish that I had recently on Saudia, this would be my all-time favorite rice or grain dish on a flight. But this is a solid number 2. Total 10 out of 10. For dessert, I asked for the warm praline cookie with hazelnut ice cream. They were out. Okay, so I went for the ice cream sundae, and my flight attendant gently fessed up that all the ice cream on board had melted. We laughed. Okay, fresh berries with cream it is. But then from I don't know where, she found some almost solid ice cream. 8.5 out of 10. Service on board was exceptional, but at the same time not exceptional. It was on the high end of what Qatar typically provides. The only reason it's not exceptional in this case is because I've seen even better on Qatar. The crew were not as proactive as others that I've seen, but they were very responsive when things were needed, so it all worked out to be a net positive. The landing is coming up. As I mentioned last time, it's going to take an earthquake to shake Qatar from the number 9 slot. So that's where they're staying. They're consistently fantastic. Best trip on Earth? Not sure. But consistently fantastic is pretty damn good. So I really do hope that you enjoyed part 2 of this journey to Atlanta. If you did, please be sure to click the like button and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss out on my weekly flight and resort videos. I'll see you next time for a bit of action from Air France. As always, thanks for watching until the end.